Yo, what's going on? This is your boy Big Rich right here, and I'm gonna come with you with another video. You know what I'm saying? Explaining sidechain and synths or whatnot. This is a beat that I did in the background, and I got a couple of synth sound that's interfering with each other as far as frequency is concerned. And I don't want to have to go in there and do some EQ and filtering, and you know what I'm saying, mess up the sound or anything like that. So you know what I'm saying, what I'm gonna do is use a mixing technique called sidechaining. Sidechain compression or whatnot, without actually having to mess with some EQs and make room for the frequencies, because these two sounds are in the same frequency range. But I like what they're doing, and I like the blend of it, and I like the layering, the sound layering of it. So we're gonna make room for one of the sounds, and we're gonna use sidechaining compression or whatnot. Now, if you don't understand the whole basis of sidechaining, I have a video on my channel. It's called Understanding Sidechain. I don't know, it's something with sidechaining on my channel. So if you want to go and take a look at that, I give y'all a kind of like a analogy of what sidechaining is. So let's get up in this tutorial about sidechaining these damn synths. All right, cool. So let me start the beat, and let me go ahead and solo the sounds that I'm going to sidechain today. All right, so this is one sound. That's going to be the sound source. That's going to be the sound that's going to trigger the other sound or the other synth, and sidechain that. Okay, so this is the trigger man. Just remember that sound right there, 3 Saurus, that's the trigger man. All right, cool. This sound right here is gonna be the sound that's gonna get shot, in other words. Okay, this is gonna be the victim. You hear that sound? So the trigger man is gonna shoot the victim. You understand what I'm saying? Cool. Now what I got going on is I have this sound freezed, so I'm gonna unfreeze that, but whatnot. I had it freeze so I could save some CPU. Okay, cool. Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna choose a compressor, Ableton Live's compressor, because it has a very good sidechaining feature or whatnot, and I'm gonna load it onto the trigger man, or the 3 Source, whatever that label is or whatnot. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is the next thing you would do is to hit this down arrow button right here on the compressor, and you'll see your sidechain functions. Okay. Now the EQ section and the filter type section on this sidechaining feature, you kind of use that for drums or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, for as if you needed to get the drums and you got a snare hit, but you don't want to put the low end of the snare into the sidechaining feature, you can actually cut out the low end of the snare that's coming into the sidechaining or coming into the compressor, and just have the high end of the snare or whatnot. But on this synth, we really don't need it, because there's really no attacks to it. So we won't mess with the EQ function. We'll just only mess with what's on the left hand side and sidechain like that. It's gonna be a real quick tutorial or whatnot. Now if you don't have, or you don't understand sidechaining, there's another plugin if your DAW doesn't have it, and let me pull that plugin up for you guys. That way you can go out and check it out. And it's made by Twisted Lemon, TWISTED Lemon, and the name of the plugin is called Sidekick 5. Okay, now you can load it up on the sound source or the trigger man, and I think I made a mistake. Let me take this compressor off the trigger man, because that compressor don't go there. Okay, so it goes on the victim, the Nexus synth. Okay, now the sidechain is the Sidekick 5 plugin. It's a VST plugin, and pretty much how you work this is you turn it on, and you keep it on 1. Okay, and then what it'll do is it'll sidechain, you know what I'm saying, it'll use sound 1 source in order to sidechain the Nexus sound or whatnot. And then you will load the same plugin on the trigger man and choose 1, and it'll sidechain like that. But we're not going to use that, because we're going to use Ableton Live's function. All right, so we on the Nexus, which is going to be the victim, right? Okay, cool. And I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna choose the compressor. Okay, and I put the compressor on the wrong one, so I apologize for that. Okay, so remember, you know what I'm saying, let me pull these plugins up, that way y'all have a visual representation. This is the trigger man. Okay, this is the VST instrument that's gonna be triggering the sidechain of the Nexus, which is right here. Okay, let me pull that Nexus over. Okay, cool. So you see the Nexus. Okay, this is what's gonna be shot. You know what I'm saying? This is the victim. You know what I'm saying? This is what's gonna be shot. This is what's gonna be sidechain or being sidechain compressed. Okay, cool. Now the trigger man, as y'all see right here. Okay, cool. Notice that it's 3 Saurus. Okay, that's the name of the track. All right, we go to the victim. Okay, what we want to do is we want to go and hit that down arrow on the compressor like I showed you earlier. All right, go and enable sidechain. Just press on that button. Okay, and you want to see this where it says audio from. Want to go ahead and choose 3 Saurus. Okay, now the cool thing about this is if you go back and you rename 3 Saurus, and let's just call that jumping synth. All right, I misspelled jumping. Lord have mercy, tripping tonight. All right, hit enter. All right, we got that jumping synth. You go back over to the victim, and you will see right there jumping synth. So it's always good to name your tracks. That way, when you do stuff like this, you understand where you're going. All right, cool. Now, we got that in there right here. Now, you probably want to just leave this on post effects. That's a little bit far as advanced routing and stuff like that. If you want to get the sound before it, let's just say the jumping synth or the trigger man had some EQ and reverb and stuff like that, but you only want to grab the dry signal of the jumping synth sound. You can go to pre-effects, but this is going to catch everything at the end of the sound chain or at the end of the signal chain, and just leave it on post effects. Okay, cool. And now you could turn this sound that's coming up, you could turn it up, you could turn the gain up of the trigger man or the jumping synth, you could turn the sound up or down, okay, if need be, but we're just going to keep it on the original sound source that we got. And you can adjust how much signals that's coming in for as dry and wet. Always keep it at 100%. The next thing you want to do is kind of figure out how much ratio you want, you know what I'm saying, how much compression you want. Right now it's default at 2 to 1. What I like to do is when I do sidechaining, I like to keep it anywhere from 2.5 ratio, 2.5 to 1 ratio, or all the way up to 4 to 1. But in this case, it's a synth that doesn't have a lot of attacks, so I'm just gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it at I'm gonna go to around like 3.5. Okay, 3.5 to 1. Okay, and the next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and we're gonna hit play. All right, and I'm gonna turn the sound down, that way you can hear me talk. All right, next thing we're gonna go back to the victim. Okay, now we got all that going on. You see the incoming signal, which is right here. This is the outcoming signal. Okay, next thing you want to do, you want to try to see if you can adjust your tack. All right, now adjusting your tack it's real hard with sounds that have a soft attack or a soft transient or whatnot, including the synth right here. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna hammer down, and I'm gonna switch my view. I don't like this view right here on the compressor. I like this view right here. Now you see this little ball? This is kind of like it's pretty much measuring the incoming signal. This little ball right there. See how it goes with the incoming signal right here? That's your incoming signal. So you want to get your threshold, or this little ball, this little circle right here, somewhere around in that little circle. You know what I'm saying? You want to get that circle inside that ball, or you want to get the ball inside the circle, should I say. You want to get the ball inside the circle. So we're going to adjust our threshold accordingly. Okay, cool. Now you just started sidechain functioning. Okay, so we sidechaining just a little bit. If we was to, and I'm gonna get rid of the victim right quick. If we was to, you're really not gonna hear any sidechaining because it's a real weak signal. Now what we could do is we could crank up the gain. Notice how I got the gain turned up at 15 dB. That's 15 dB going into the compressor for us the sidechain function. You see how our pad sound just disappeared? Let's go back to 0 on the gain function. Now we're not doing that much sidechaining. Okay, so that's another function. That way, the whole purpose of using the gain function is that way you don't have to affect the overall signal or your fader on the trigger man or your jumping synth. Okay, cool. Now we can come down and use the compressor more. You know what I'm saying? See how we got that, but you know what I'm saying, we can just go ahead and get that income signal right there, and we can adjust that. But notice how you ain't got that much compression. You know what I'm saying? So it's always best, you know what I'm saying, whatever your taste is, whatever your liking is, keep the gain at 0 and just use your threshold. Okay, now the next thing we want to do, I can hear a noticeable difference right there. Okay, now when you're doing this, I'm gonna bring this threshold back up to 0. Okay, now when you're doing this, you want to make sure you have your synth playing, both of the synths, both of the sounds. Okay, now let's go ahead and adjust our threshold. Now you notice how the trigger man is now prominent, and you can hear the victim or the nexus sound in the background. You notice that? Now let's do that and bypass the plugin, okay? And I'm not gonna turn it off right here on this button. I'm gonna use the dry wet button. Now you notice how the victim or the nexus sound is all in the way of the trigger man. Let's bring the wet back up to 100. And 5, 6, and 7. Here we go. Makes sense, right? And then from there, that's it. That's pretty much all you have to do. That's all you have to do with sidechaining. Now, of course, you can adjust your knee or whatnot. But what I like to do with the knee is I like to keep it in that boundary right there. See how you got these little these little lines right here when you adjust the knee? You know what I'm saying? It's just adjusting the curve of the compression, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot. It's saying how you know what I'm saying, it's really, when you have it at 0 knee, it's really hard compression. When you spread it out, it's really soft compression. So in order to make up for the trigger man, you hear how soft the sound is. We want to adjust our we're just gonna bring our knee right up at 0. Okay, cool. And you can play around with the different type of compressor types you want, RMS or peak, but we're gonna keep it at peak. Now let's play it with the beat and see if it's in function, or this sidechaining really worked. Okay, so we're gonna bring the dry wet back down to 0. That means the compressor, there's no sidechaining going on. And then bring the volume back up. All right, now let's turn on compression. Let's mix it in. 6 and 7 and 8. All right. All right, now let's solo the sounds and see how this ride out. 6 and 7 and 8. All right, now let's take the compression off. Let's mix it back out. See how the pad is messing up with the trigger man? Let's bring it back in. See how it makes room? Now let's just say you got too much of the trigger man now. All you gotta do is turn down just a little bit and see how everything is gelled out. Everybody's in their own area, their own lane for as volume and balance. All right, now let's bring the dry wet knob back to 0. That means no sidechain compression. See how you got a mumble jumble mess and it sounds unbalanced. So let's bring back the sidechain in right here on the dry wet knob. 6, 7, and 8. All right, see? And that's the whole function of sidechain compression. Now let's bring all our sounds in, and you're gonna see how everything balances out. And 7 and 8. So that's it, folks. That's sidechain compression. You know what I'm saying, with synthesizers or synth sounds. If you like this tutorial, you know what I'm saying, hey, go ahead and like the page, subscribe. This is your boy Big Rich right here, you know what I'm saying. Hey, you know what I'm saying, degree audio engineer, you know what I'm saying. If you like tracks, you know what I'm saying, if you like the tracks I make, hit me up at my email, jcsproductions@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter at BigRich, BIGRYCH, and y'all fuck with your boy. Make sure you check out the website, www.jcsproductions.com. We're out.